We're outside the headquarters of Loop Capital. Loop Capital is one of a handful of banks that have been making hundreds of millions of dollars in profit off of the Chicago public schools in the city of Chicago through these rip-off deals called interest rate swaps. These deals, they talked the city into claiming it would help us with financial planning, save money, hedge against interest rates going up. Instead, of course, interest rates crashed once these banks crashed the economy and got bailed out by us. Because of that, it was a bad bet that they talked us into. The city is handing them hundreds of millions of dollars in profits, and the banks think this is just perfectly fine. Jim Reynolds, the CEO of Loop Capital, has been especially bad about this. He was out there during the school closings calling for schools to be closed as a way to save money for the Chicago public schools, while at the same time his bank made over $170 million in profits off of its rip-off deals with the city and with CPS. We've been calling on him to return the money. He's refused to do it so far. The city has a chance to do something about it. The mayor could file for arbitration that would have a shot at winning back all of the money we have lost to these interest rate swap deals. This just happened recently in Alabama. There's other cities poised to take action as well. The mayor so far won't file for the arbitration. We think he's more interested in protecting his banker friends like Jim Reynolds than he is to take action to actually defend the children of this city.
We're sitting here at Loop Capital's headquarters in Chicago, 111 West Jackson, and this is where Jim Reynolds, CEO of this firm, has his office. And Jim Reynolds is an interesting figure because he helped secure these swap deals with the school district and finance them, and now he's making hand over fist in profit since him and his buddies on Wall Street crashed the economy in 2008. And he's made nearly $200 million in profit as a result of these dirty deals. Ironically, and not so coincidentally, he's also been the chief advocate in the business community for closing schools because there's not enough money, when he's the very reason why there aren't sufficient resources to properly staff and support our school children and their teachers. So it's an outrage. It's absolutely his responsibility to come to terms with that. He has the agency and the ability to solve this crisis and give back the money that he stole from our schools. That's why we're here today.
Hey, hey, ho, ho! Toxic swaps have got to go!
We're here today protesting the toxic swaps. We're asking Jim Reynolds from Loop Financial to help get us out of these swaps that we're involved in. The mayor and his buddies like Jim Reynolds like to make deals that help the bankers and help the 1%, but not our schools. So last year, 2 years ago, they closed down over 50 schools saying that it was for financial reasons. They haven't tried all the ways to get the money back, and we've seen in other places across the country that working on getting the swaps reduced or removed, freeing governments from the burden of these swaps has actually helped produce more revenue and help their budgets. And so we're asking for that to happen here. Part of the problem is that Rahm is friends with all these people, and so does he want to help the kids or does he want to help his friends is one of the questions we're asking.
So a while ago I gave a talk about toxic swaps using popular education materials, and we were explaining the basics. Essentially what happened is in 2006, and in some cases before then, the school district and the city and the state engaged in these toxic swap deals in order to get their variable rate bonds to pay for capital and different expenditures. They talked to banks and other financiers about limiting their risk. So they had variable rate bonds where the interest rates went up and down and were unpredictable. And the bank said, hey, we'll help you out. We'll give you a fixed rate. And if the interest rates go up, you win. If they go down, you lose. And then subsequently in 2008, the banks crashed the economy, interest rates went down to zero, and we were stuck footing the bill. As a result, the district lost lots of money, approximately $250 million since that time. And as they say they're broke and they need to close down schools and cut budgets, well, we're saying there's an alternative. And here today, there's now a strategy whereby we can do arbitration because the banks lied about the risks involved in these particular arrangements. So in Alabama, they've been successful in Baldwin County at winning back all the money that they had to pay out erroneously and unfairly.
Basically the way it works is it's similar to the Bank of America settlement which just netted consumers back $16 billion, in which financial institutions have failed to disclose the really big risks that companies took when they entered into these complicated financial arrangements. Think of it as a sort of a high finance parking meter deal. And so what's happened is that the taxpayers had to pay about $100 million a year, a little bit north of that, over the course of the last decade, because when the bond markets tanked and when the interest rates tanked, the banks made a lot of profits off these deals, and that's at the heart of it.
Banker crooks, they got paid. Our education's not for trade.
The mayor has been talking about tough choices in the city. The most recent time we heard tough choices rhetoric was when they just cut retiree health subsidies by 40%, which means that people making $1,000, $1,500 a month on a fixed income retirement now suddenly have incurred these massive extra bills. So his tough choices are our tough luck. And what's interesting is that when he talks about tough choices for the, retired city workers, or tough choices for children not being able to afford early childhood services, or tough choices for public schools or health clinics, he's unwilling to make the same tough choices apply to the financial industry, where he worked and has close relations. And so we think this is a case of him being friends with people who have lots of money, friends with capital, and we see that he's it's only a one-way street when it comes to making sacrifice. We think that our tough luck should be shared, and make Jim Reynolds pay his share in this regard, and that Rahm should stop coddling his friends at the top of these corporations and should go after them instead. They're the ones with the money, after all.
The mayor, by filing for this arbitration, by demanding that these banks pay back these toxic interest rate swaps, he could recover as much as $1 billion that the city has lost.
And this group of parents and community and teachers are about to go up and demand that Jim Reynolds gives that money back.
So what do you guys think? Can we send a delegation in to see if CEO Jim Reynolds would be willing to talk to us? Yeah. If the mayor won't ask him for the money back, why don't we go ask him, see if he's willing to meet with us? This man was willing to go out on the news and call for schools to be closed to save money while his own bank was making a profit. Let's go to him and see if he's willing to talk with us about paying some of that back.
Sir, okay, I want you to listen before you enter. Listen to what I have to say before you try to go in the building. If you go in that building, we got to call 911. Now, if you want to speak with a rep, we'll bring someone down and they'll speak with you. If you're not allowed to come into this building, protest it. You can protest it.
We're coming in to ask for a meeting.
Oh, this is what I'm trying to explain to you. We'll have someone down, Luke Capital, come down and he can speak with you.
Okay.
You can stand there, you can do anything you want to do, you can protest, but you can't come inside. The minute you step in there, we got to call the police on you. I said a rep was coming down to speak to you.
That's good.
Okay, so you can wait right here.
We can wait right here.
Now you...
We're trying to get money for schools, but I'm speaking to you though.
No, listen to what I'm saying. Around this area, you're blocking business, people can't get in.
There's another door right there.
But they're sending somebody down to see if we can get a meeting with them, all right? So
this is a place of business. Please don't block the doors. If you can just stand on the side, we'll really appreciate it because we don't want any trouble.
Okay, all right, we ready? Okay. Not blocking the doors. You guys are we willing to wait a couple of minutes here for somebody to come down from Loop and get a meeting with them?
Yes.
So we'll wait right here.
Well, security just locked the door of the Loop Capitol entrance, the whole entire high-rise building, so that nobody can go in. And they had promised that they were going to send us a representative to talk to us. All we want to do is ask Jim Reynolds for a meeting. He's not going to talk to us. He's not going to talk to us at all. In fact, that was just a ruse to get rid of us. Jim Reynolds is the mayor's friend, and he is running away from the people, the parents, the pensioners, the teachers who are out here.
We have an update.
All right.
You're supposed to have them all the way on the sidewalk.
Okay,
so what's going on?
Pass a little towards the sidewalk, please.
No one wants to speak with anyone down here.
Loop Capital says they don't want to speak to any of us. They won't let us up. Other people can walk in and out of the building and ask for meetings with them, but Loop says they don't want us to come up.
Okay.
That ain't right.
Yeah, they want to lock us up after stealing our money and closing our kids' school. Now they're going to lock us up because they don't want to hear the truth. They liars. They dishonest.
We can't just wait for the mayor to take action. We got to be telling the real story of what's happened with the city budget and the school budgets. They want to keep saying our schools are broke. We got to talk about why, right?
They want the people to stop banking with these people. And they just making money, more money, and they taking from us.
That's right.
Our mayor have been dishonest. He have closed down schools for no reason at all, and our children is suffering, and this is the second year that our kids is going to the receiving school that still is not official enough equipped for all these children. This is the worst case of child abuse and child neglect I ever heard of, and they doing it to our children. That's right. Whoever heard of tearing down schoolhouses? It's wrong, and they need to be held accountable, and someone needs to go to jail because it's criminal.